Hi, this is Jeff Camarda, the Wealth Doctor, with some crash course on critical things that you need to know about asset protection planning. So, what is asset protection? You hear a lot about this, but asset protection is basically shielding your family wealth and your assets from losses to lawsuits, financial predators, kids' divorces, and other risks. And lawsuits is a popular one. If somebody comes to your house and they fall on the walkway or something and split their head. This actually happened to one of my clients who thought it was amusing. A lady came to do his wife's nails and tripped and twisted her ankle, and before you know it, he's getting a call from an ambulance chasing attorney. And with all due respect to my friends in the personal injury field. These are the kind of things you never know what you might get sued for, and to the extent that some assets are unprotected. Unprotected assets are very exposed to judgments and charging orders and other demands. Some assets aren't. Some assets are protected due to their nature. Like in many states, not all states, check state law. In Florida, which is a really good state for wealth holders in many regards. But depending on state law, for instance, homesteads, your home. In Florida and many other states enjoy remarkable protection. That's why you remember that OJ came to Florida and put all his wealth into a house. So it was a mean for attack, legitimate attack to satisfy claims against him. Other assets like the retirement accounts, IRAs, 401ks, some life insurance products also have protection because of their nature. And you should understand this, but many assets don't. And this is something that a lot of folks and even a lot of planners really don't think fully appreciate. For instance, bank and brokerage accounts that are just in my name or in joint name with my spouse, or gosh forbid, in joint names with one of my kids, and that kid gets in a car wreck and they sue the child, and my $3 million investment account with the kid's name on it is exposed to satisfy the judgment. So those are exposed. Real estate, business interests. There's a lot of stuff that's frequently on the table. And don't think because the asset is in a trust that it enjoys protection. Most trusts are paper tigers. They're worthless when it comes to asset protection. And we'll talk a little bit more about asset protection trusts at the end. And here's the basic reason, right? So if you put your stuff in a trust, in a revocable trust, and even some irrevocable trusts, but if you put it in a revocable trust, a simple case, I've got my $3 million investment account in my trust, and somebody sues me, and the judge says, all right, well, pay him. And I said, well, judge, it's in a trust. And he's going to say, well, who's the trustee? And I said, well, I am. He said, you have the checkbook? Yeah. You have unlimited power of the trust? Well, yeah, of course. That's what I wanted. You can do whatever you want, take money in, put it out. Yeah. I said, well, then pay him. I don't want to pay him. They go sit in county jail for 30 days, and we'll talk about it again. Right? And this is, this is a common scenario you see in a lot of the planning books. So trusts really are not effective. Another thing that is important is corporation owners frequently think that they're protected because of the corporation. And the corporation does protect the corporation owners from attacks against assets that are not in the corporation, right? So we have a owner of a pizza restaurant, and somebody gets hurt in the pizzeria and they burn their hand on the oven, whatever, and it's incorporated, and they sue the pizzeria. The claims because of the damaged hand are limited to the assets in the corporation, the corporate veil. You can't get past it for liabilities of the corporation. And it's good. You should do that. Obviously, you want to do that as a business owner. But that's what I call a bottom-up attack. What about a top-down attack where we're based in Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm driving down the road and I get in a car wreck with a Jacksonville Jaguar who successfully sues me because they make it look like my fault, though I'm an excellent driver. And I get a $12 million judgment. And I said, well, okay, my company's in a corporation. And the judge said, well, great, sign over the corporate stock. This is not a claim against your corporation. It's a claim against you, Dr. Camarda. And you're going to have to go ahead and sign your assets over to satisfy the judgment. That's what I call a top-down attack. So there are things that you can do to make that the situation nearly bulletproof. And strong structures, in my view, are the go-to planning tool. Like LLCs, limited liability companies, that are in the right states that have strong LLC laws. Many states, perhaps most states, don't. They're paper tires. They're very, plaintiff friendly. Florida is one that has a strong LLC law, as does Texas. So in an LLC that's properly structured with the right language in the operating agreement of the LLC, that's really important. Not enough just to have the LLC. It's got to have the right stuff so it's consistent with law to enjoy asset protection. And then it enjoys what's called charging order protection, what I call COP LLCs, that the judge issues a charging order, but because of the nature of the LLC and that was properly set up by an attorney that knows what they're doing, and I'd like to say they all do, but in my experience, many don't. But you want to have somebody that knows how to put the right language in the operating agreement so it's consistent with the law that affords it asset protection. And then it's pretty moot. Judge issued a charging order, but this LLC is charging order protected. It's really that simple, but important. By the way, before we go too far afield of the planning techniques, liability insurance, particularly liability umbrellas and large umbrellas, are the first line of defense. You want to have insurance. It's cheap, and usually that's enough. But if the judgment is for more than the amount of coverage, like in the football player example, or if the insurance company finds a way to successfully avoid paying the claim, they probably won't be able to, but they will try very hard to keep their money in their pocket and not give it to satisfy your lawsuit. Then the second line of defense are these structures that I'm talking about, like LLCs, which I find to be really, really simple and cost effective and very valuable. And another thing you want to consider as the clock ticks down on this crash course, but watch a longer classes for more information, is that siloing assets is really, really important. So again, we have the pizzeria that's an LLC. And this the charging order protected, so if the owner gets sued, he can't lose the pizzeria. But what about if the $2 million investment account is in the same LLC and somebody burns their hand? Now that's one of the assets of that corporation, that LLC, that can be used to satisfy the judgment. So you want to have that in a separate silo. So you typically investment assets and bank accounts in a silo that operates no businesses and really can't have any liability. Last thing I want to touch on is domestic asset protection trusts. Wyoming is recently all abuzz, with these. They're frequently, they're really touted a lot, promoted heavily on media and so forth, but they're frequently, in my view, overkill, and they can be much more restrictive and complicated and expensive and less protected because they're still subject to U.S. law. And if you get sued in Texas and the Texas judge may not honor Wyoming law, you could really wind up, in a bit of a mess. I find that properly structured LLCs are they're a lot easier to live with. You have a lot more control. They're simpler, they're cheaper. They make a lot more sense. But that's enough for now. This crash course sadly has come to a close. But to get more information on this and other really critical wealth topics that I love to teach about, please like and subscribe. And you'll have full access to my entire catalog of Millionaire Minute, really, really short classes, crash courses like this 8.5 minute one, and my long form extended classes with slides and so forth. Thanks for watching. See you next time. This is Jeff Camarda, the Wealth Doctor.